My name is Rita Renee Jackson, and I'm from Gary, Indiana. I think that I can give some of the single women some hope that, a lot of times when you have a disability, you feel like there's no chance for a relationship. And I've been in this chair for 21 years, but I just finished celebrating my 10th wedding anniversary this past November 11th. So there is hope for single women. Disabilities don't stop anything. If you find the right person that loves you for who you are, the disability doesn't mean anything. It pays to vote. We met at the voting booth. I worked as a clerk at my area voting place, and he was there that year working as a judge, and that's how we met. We just kind of the eye contact all through the whole, you're there from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So the whole 12 hours we were just kind of sneaking looks at each other and smiling and little casual conversation. And before the night ended, he asked me for my phone number, or could he have my phone number? Would it be okay to call? And I seemed like a nice guy, so I said sure. And the rest is history, because like 6 months later, we were married. I had been single parent, divorced since since like 1980, I think. So, and I've been actually living on my own. Me and my husband separated in 1976, so it was like years that, I had been alone or single. And so I always, like any other woman, I probably hoped I'd find the right person, but it wasn't like I was out there beating the bushes or looking, if he came along, fine. If he didn't, fine. He did things for me to make me more comfortable, rather than doing it just for the sake of saying that, I helped this lady out, or showing off in front of anybody else. He always did something to make me comfortable. He came by after we had been maybe talking about a month and a half. He came by, he cut my grass, he pruned my roses, he trimmed the hedges. I'm like, whoa, this is a keeper here, so. And the relationship just kind of grew from there. I invited him to dinner. I cooked him a home cooked dinner, and we, like I said, we kept talking and started talking, and probably he's about the only person I would talk on the phone with for hours, because I'm not a phone type person, and we could get on the phone and talk for hours, and that was enjoyable. So the relationship just kind of grew from talking and getting to know each other, and him being so handy Andy around the house. He didn't meet all of my family, because I've come from a very large family, and I didn't get to meet quite all of his family before we got married, but on the way into the church, I think I shocked a few of them, because when the doors opened and they were expecting his bride to walk down the aisle, here I come gliding and wheeling down the aisle, both my sons pushing me, so I could see a couple of faces went. But other than that, everybody accepted everybody fine. We had no problems. I usually give lectures back in Gary when they would have a difficult patient or somebody going through like maybe depression, and they weren't doing their exercises, or they weren't taking their rehab seriously. The area hospital and some of the social workers would call me, and I'd come in and talk to them, or just let them see me, talk to them about driving, anything that's usually was a younger person, or a female or a woman around my age. And I just give them some hope and let them know that, life goes on, and, to live happily is possible. And I remember one guy was about 19 years old. I was talking to him about going back to school, going to college, and letting him know that he could drive. I had my van parked downstairs, so I was pointing out the window where he could see my van. They said, that's the van I drive. It's handicap accessible. You can learn to drive. You can go back to school. So things like that. So I would just really talk to people about being positive and that life goes on. And being that I'd always talk and lecture to people, the subject of love and dating and relationships would always come up. I thought that was funny. I could be talking to them about education, home ownership. I could be talking about anything. The first question, I said, well, lecture's over. Anybody got any questions? Have you had sex? It's like, whoa, where'd that come from? So that is a big part of being disabled and being single, and that's something that you want to know, that is that possible? Is that something that's over in your life, or is that going to go on? Told them that, yeah, that it was possible that I did have a healthy sex life, and that could be something that is not over for them. That they could look forward to doing that, or becoming involved in a relationship. So they probably think that when you lose the ability to do anything, that the sex flies out the window. I think a lot of them, with the attitudes that they have, they just don't think of people with disabilities in loving relationships. That just doesn't seem to cross their mind. The ones I talk to, they seem to be shocked, or they seem to just, really have not thought about it. But that's the whole thing in what we say every day with everything: jobs, employment, housing, everything. You have to change the attitude of people toward people with disabilities. It's an attitude change.